Hello, LinkedIn family and friends. It's Dave Freedman here, and it's time for another edition of Monday Motivation. Get fired up. Well, I am on my feet and standing because I am so fired up this week to tell you a great story that's going to transform your life. So sit back, relax, get ready to be inspired and fired up to live your best life, because here it comes. So many years ago, a farmer had a watch that had been handed down to him from many, many generations. And despite this watch being a couple hundred years old, it worked perfectly and had just so much sentimental value to this farmer, and he wore it everywhere he went. Well, one day, after working in his large hay-filled barn for many hours, he came out of the barn and noticed that his watch was missing. Well, the farmer became frantic and ran back in the barn and got down on his hands and knees and spent hours and hours going through the hay trying to find his watch, but to no avail. Well, the farmer became very sad, walked out of the barn, and then called half a dozen of his workmen to come in and see if perhaps they could find the watch. Well, his workmen went in the barn and frantically went all around the barn for hours on end, and still they could not find his watch. Well, the farmer then became very sad and sat down outside with his head down and started to cry when suddenly a wise Zen master was coming by and stopped and saw him and said to the farmer, "Why are you so sad and depressed?" Well, the farmer looked at him and told him about this watch that he had that was passed down from generation to generation to him, and how it had meant so much, and that he had lost it in the barn, and despite he and his men searching for hours and hours, were unable to find it. Well, the wise Zen master looked at him and said, "Have no worries, my friend. I will find your watch." So the wise Zen master walked into the barn, closed the door behind him, and within 2 minutes walked out of the barn holding up the farmer's watch. Well, the farmer was overjoyed and at the same time was quite puzzled as to how the Zen master could find the watch so quickly. And he asked him, how on earth did you find my watch so quickly? Well, the wise Zen master told him that he had sat down on the ground and in complete silence just listened. And when he heard a ticking sound, he got up and walked over to where the ticking sound was coming from, and there, lo and behold, he found the farmer's watch. And I think this story really teaches us a great lesson in today's society that is just filled with all sorts of distractions, our cell phones ringing and buzzing and binging all the time, that we just struggle to let go of. And we fail to remember that silence is just a very valuable tool in our life. It allows us to notice things that we would otherwise overlook, that can help us solve problems we're struggling with, just like that farmer was struggling with to find his watch. Silence also allows us to improve our concentration and our focus, and that allows us to perform better in all that we do. It even allows us to enjoy the beauty of nature, things like the wonderful and beautiful sounds of birds chirping that can bring us enjoyment and ease our minds. Silence also is a cure for anger, because when we become angry, our mind stops working while our mouth starts moving. So always allow your mind to have silence for at least a couple minutes or so a day, because a settled mind can think better than a mind that is constantly distracted by all the things in today's society that we are surrounded by. And also be sure to silence the stories that you tell yourself about all your imaginary self-imposed limitations that are holding you back and keeping you from living your best life. And that's your Monday motivation. I hope you are fired up, you have greatness within you, and you can make magic happen. Now get it done.